Joining me today is Wunder, co-owner and chief of staff at Wunder 6Mans, a competitive pod platform for Rocket League players. Since 2017, it's grown to over 75,000 users across 6 regions, with Wunder playing a key role in success. Let's dive into his journey and see what's next for the 6Mans community. So, welcome, Wunder. Can you share how you first got involved in Rocket League and what inspired you to get involved in IRL 6Mans?
Yeah, so when Rocket League first came out, I didn't hear too much about it, but I saw a few streamers on Twitch that were playing it kind of casually, and I was just kind of looking for a new game to play at the time. And honestly, when I got Rocket League at first, I was like, oh, this will be a fun game to kill half an hour to an hour of my day sometimes, if I don't have anything better to do. And so I just bought it on a whim, just to kind of play casually, I told myself, and it kind of blossomed into this whole 6Mans esports gaming endeavor. I started getting pretty good at the game, and so 6Mans was a natural progression, natural step forward into something better, because the ranking system in Rocket League itself, done by Psyonix, is it's not great. Rank inflation is very rampant these days because their resets are almost non-existent. So Rocket League ranking and rating is kind of losing its meaning. So we decided to do something a bit different to show kind of a true skill level versus just what's on the Rocket League platform.
Were there any influencers, pro players, or early adopters who helped shape IRL 6Mans in the early stages?
Yeah, so when 6Mans first kind of launched off the jump, we had Garrett G and many other pros who were involved. That's just the name I can remember off the top of my head. It's been so long, but there was this niche that had to be filled. People were essentially saying the same thing even back then, where they go, having a pug system or something would be kind of ideal for Rocket League because it kind of fits the team kind of game, a skill team-based game. So, a lot of the pros were already kind of signed on and invested in it back in its infancy, if you will, and that kind of helped us initially expand and grow into what we are today.
So let's talk a little bit about behind the scenes in IRL 6Mans. So how did 6Mans evolve from a Discord, a pug system, into hosting events like the Gladiator Circuit or the Gauntlet Open?
Yeah, so eventually as we expanded and grew, our user base wanted something more and something different, and we wanted to be able to provide that for them. So instead of just doing pugs and our leaderboards and rankings, we decided to turn ourselves into just kind of like a tournament platform, scrim platform, kind of an all-in encompassing business, if you will, or Discord. And one day I also just kind of had an idea. Let's kind of start running some tournaments, some other things to get the community more engaged, more involved, and to push to new markets and new users and stuff like that who may have not heard of us. And I think tournaments with good advertisements, good partnerships are a good way to do that. So that's kind of it was a natural progression essentially from just doing pugs to hosting something ourselves, to make it a bit bigger and to include more external sponsors, teams, or what have you into the ecosystem.
So do you or your team create content or cast matches yourselves?
Yeah, so we don't have in-house casters. We used to, we partnered with a production team back in the days when we ran, like the Top Shot Twist, which was a partnership with NBA, or like you said, the 6-man circuit, things like that. We would partner with production teams. They had casters, admins, things like that. Production obviously all set. And then, I would be in charge of, timelines, organizing everything, making sure things are done on time, negotiating sponsorships, things like that as well on the side. And then, I did that on top of the, 6Mans day-to-day operations and staffing and what have you that needed to be done. But it was more of a passion side thing that ended up working out pretty well.
So how do you structure and schedule events such as the Gauntlet Opens and Fresh Cut Tournament?
Well, you try not to collide it too much with the RLCS schedule or other, Psyonix sanctioned events, because those obviously take precedent over, community-run events for the most part. So you have to just find, a niche kind of weekend, or 2 weeks, or what have you, where, there's nothing going on in the RLCS circuit or like the bubble circuit, things like that. And you try and find a time that works for everyone where you can have admins and casters and things like that. So you just kind of schedule it basically around Psyonix and their events to try and maximize, enrollment and things like that.
Let's talk about challenges and wins, particularly in the OCE scene. With RL 6Mans supporting multiple regions, including OCE, what specific challenges and successes have you seen in the Oceanic region?
Well, Oceania was a good foothold for us because when we originally came out with 6Mans, it was one of our original, I guess, servers, if you will, or regions that we launched with. So, it was something that was also, pivotal in expanding not just in North America or Europe, but to Oceania as well, since the Rocket League scene there is so strong and is still thriving to this very day. So, the challenges that comes with it, obviously, it's, finding staffing, getting people on board with it, and just kind of, just general operations that comes with any kind of new venture and things like that. I mean, for the most part, the community is very, very well maintained and well run, and we love all of our Oceania players, and we hope they continue to enjoy the platform from what it is now.
How do you view the current trajectory of Rocket League Esports compared to when RL 6Mans first launched?
Well, when we launched, the esports scene was still kind of in its infancy in a way. We launched in alongside kind of when everything was kind of coming up, so it was still a lot to learn, and the scene was still just kind of figuring out what to do now. And in terms of where it's grown to where it is today in 2025, Psyonix, Epic Games, they run a pretty tight ship with RLCS and all the events these days. They put a lot of good production value into it compared to what it was, because when the esports scene first started in Rocket League, they weren't sure how big it was going to be, if it was sustainable, if it was something they wanted to explore long term. And it turns out that it's a pretty good investment for the company, and so they obviously are pouring money into the esports scene to keep it alive. So compared to where we started, I mean, it's basically grown, evolved, and it's quite complex to where it was 10 years ago, 9 years ago, when you had the original RLCS season 1, season 2 teams that a lot of those people who played are now in their 30s or whatever, because they played when they were so young. So it just shows the cycle of the game and how active the competitive scene still is to this day.
For aspiring players or organisers hoping to break into esports through Rocket League, what lessons from your development of RL 6Mans would you pass on?
That's a good question. I would say don't give up when times get tough or when you think things are not working out. I think just keep going. When you want to get into it and when you want to start something, do it for the right reasons. And make sure you're passionate about it. Make sure you're behind it all the time, because it's not going to be all fun and games. There's going to be a lot of tough times, a lot of setbacks, a lot of pushbacks, but it's how you kind of come up from that and overcome those things that really kind of bring character to whatever platform or business or what have you that you're trying to do for for the esports scene, because it's a competitive atmosphere, and there's a lot of things going on right now in the esports world that aren't always necessarily good. There's a lot of cuts in tech right now and gaming in general, so esports is at the moment in a bit of a delicate balance, but you got to try and find the right way to do it, and just be passionate about it, and put 100% into it to try and make it work.
How can players leverage PUG systems like RL 6Mans, not just to improve skill, but to also network and get noticed by pro organizations?
Well, PUG systems in general are great for what they are, as they provide an alternative kind of true rank, because when games are created, whether it's Rocket League or even CSGO as an example with Face It and things like that, there's always going to be a separate kind of platform that has a different kind of skill rating system that is more attuned to an ELO rating system is, which is a tried and true kind of mathematic formula for how you can judge skill on anything essentially. So when you play PUGs, when you get rankings in different external applications rather than just in-game ranked, you can get noticed, and a lot of teams, a lot of organizations use that rather than in-game rank. And when you play PUGs, you're meeting new people all the time when you're trying to find a team or whatever. And when you have a PUG and you take that extra step to find those players, rather than just playing matchmaking, where you could play with people who just play the game casually or play the game every so often and they're not committed to anything. Finding a good set of players who want to play PUGs, get good, get better, who played better than your average player in general. I think that's important in terms of leveraging that to get noticed or to get that door open for the next step.
We're going to wrap it up shortly, but I do have a few more questions for you. So what's one misconception people often have about RL 6Mans, or the role of pug platforms play in development?
I would say in general, speaking for pug platforms, a lot of companies, a lot of them don't like pug platforms specifically because they think it takes away from the ranked population. Because rather than of them playing ranked in their game, people are playing pugs and other offshoot events and offshoot ranking systems, and they think that it detracts from their game. But I would say to those companies that having pug platforms and third-party integrations is actually healthy for the ecosystem, because it provides multiple different pathways and entries to a same goal. Because if you want to just get good and get pro or get signed or just whatever your goal is, having more than one way, having more than just grinding ranked till your eyes bleed, and being able to kind of methodically put time into a separate platform that offers better matchmaking, better partying, better communication, better map pools or whatever it is for whatever game. It provides a kind of different flavor of it, and I think it's more appealing to more users rather than just banging your head against a wall for 8 hours a day playing ranked and hoping that you roll the dice for good teammates, essentially.
How do you see IRL 6Mans in 2 to 3 years?
I think in 2 to 3 years, 6Mans is still where it is now, just being a pug platform, being a separate kind of entity, feeding players into the bubble scene, things like that through our ranking system. We've had a lot of players who have actually gone up through our system, have got noticed through our system for professional teams, and have actually signed and become professional Rocket League players, and it's all thanks to the 6Mans ecosystem. We have multiple different people who have gone through it and gone pro because of it, so we have served a pretty great purpose in the Rocket League community in terms of the pro scene and feeding people into the pro scene through our platform. So I hope that continues in the next 2 to 3 years, and that we continue to grow in members and numbers and events and just like a general community sense, because we have a great group of people behind it, all the staff and everyone who keeps it up to date, the programmers and things like that update our bots, our systems, that keep the website online, what have you. It's a great team. Everyone here is dedicated to 6Mans, and we hope to continue bringing a really good, positive experience to all of our users and members who choose to use the platform. The end goal for 6Mans obviously is to become, and still to become, I guess, the best pug platform there is in any game. I mean, of course, there's big shoes to fill when you face it, the SEA, all those things. But we think that if we continue to grow and expand and build on what we have now, there's really no stopping us from continuing to push up like that.
Now, I have one final question for you. What is a message that you'd like to give to community members or newcomers hoping to be part of the platform?
If you're looking for a place to scrim with like-minded individuals who want to get better at the game, who play well, who communicate well, if you want to just meet new friends, if you want to just hang out and see what the Discord's all about, there's a lot of just general chat about what have you in the Discord as well. It's a great community. It'll make you play better Rocket League. It'll help you improve your skills, your communication, just general everything. If you want to learn something about that, I encourage you to join 6Mans. Visit us at rl6mans.com. discord.gg/6Mans, and just kind of explore a bit and see if it's right for you. For the most part, we hold a pretty good rate of players who join, who end up liking the platform and staying, because it's such a friendly community and warm environment, and it's always welcome, and we're always receptive to feedback, and then our community members are our top priority to make sure you guys are having fun, it's safe, and that everyone enjoys the experience when they're on 6Mans.
Do you have any other final words before we finish up the interview today?
No, just I hope everyone keeps enjoying the game Rocket League and continues to play it and enjoy what comes next in the Rocket League scene.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Wunder. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure.
If you want to learn more or get involved, head to rl6mans.com, and you can also join their Discord servers to connect with players and jump straight into the action.